Okay, I'm gonna make a video today. I think you guys will really like this one. Um, I just wanted to cover a few different topics, but the main essence of the video is, are we trapped? Okay, let's begin. First of all, we can start off with money. Life as a human in this modern age. Well, really and truly, I feel like it's always been this. Because money just represents energy and time, right? Um, more so energy, just currency, right? Energy, which is always moving, and it's a zero-sum game. It's zero, so it's always flowing in places, right? It can't be created or destroyed. So when life manifests as these limited beings such as humans and animals, there are always going to be predators and preys, and there's no species that is just a predator or just a prey. Like every species is a prey to another species and a predator to another species, and they're all just consuming each other for energy to survive, right? um and we created money to keep accounts of this energy, right? So it's the same thing as what's happening in nature. It's like if an animal is hungry and they're hunting some other animal, that the animal that's hungry at that time, that's hunting, they have low energy at that point, and if they go below a certain threshold, then they will die, right? So that would be them being like in debt or having low currency, and then once they get that kill and they eat the other animal, they'll siphon all that energy that the animal that they killed and eat. That animal will go to zero and die, and then that the animal that ate them, they will take all that energy and go up, right? So it's all just about stealing currency. That's kind of what's going on in life, right? And the one who has the most currency, has the most energy, has the most power, is the most charged, right? Like your phone is more powerful when it's charged at 100%, right? It doesn't operate at 0%. It functions slightly at like 5%, but not at the same capacity as when it's at 100%. So on and so forth. So we're all just battling for finite energy. And now, obviously, we have notes and all these like quantum financial systems, um, where we just use the notes or the digits on your screen that you see when you go on online banking and so on and so forth. We just use that to keep accounts, right? We, like, as a human, you'll go to work and expend your energy which you got from consuming food. You expend your energy, you exchange your time, and then they'll give you a certain amount, a digit which represents that energy that you expended. And we're just keeping accounts that way, right? So and it's gotten to a point to where, of course, like, you need money for anything. So if you want to travel, you need money. If you want to buy food, you need money. um if you want status and respect and all of this stuff, you need money. If you want influence, you need money. um so everyone's basically chasing this one resource, which is money. um and like, money is the perfect trap if you think about it, because um the idea of getting it right, why everyone's chasing it and why everyone falls for the trap, is because the idea that everyone's thinking at the same time is, when I get the money, or if I get the money, then I will be free. Like, then I will be able to do whatever. Then I will be free, so on and so forth. That is correct if you get it, but only 0.01% get a substantial amount, and 99.99% are always fighting for scraps. Isn't like necessarily gonna be that way because it's always gonna be a hierarchy. Any kind of dynamic system with like many, such as billion participants, is always gonna end up in a hierarchy. Um, and essentially, yes, the idea is right. Like, I don't blame people for chasing money, but the thing is, why it's a trap is that most people never even get a substantial amount of money to retire or to do what they want or to become financially free. And then it's essentially the process of chasing it. Like, it's the process of getting the money which is what traps you. The working, the chasing, like it's so fucked because it's like, like you wanna work and get a certain amount to like retire or have enough to be financially free and then do whatever you want with your time. But but then you spend your whole time and your whole energy trying to get the money, and then see, like, it's like you exchange your time and energy just to get back time and energy, and then you always lose in the end. So yeah, um, it's a very tricky trap because it's tied in with your survival, right? It's not like you can just sit out and not chase money because then you'll be homeless. Then you'll just die on the street, right? Um, but then also just chasing money, then you're just gonna become enslaved to the system. Like, you're not even charging yourself; you're charging the system. Um, Another point I had is if life is a school, that's another like kind of spiritual idea that um, we're all just kind of souls living multiple lives, learning things, becoming more advanced, perhaps like working our way back to God. But see, like, and I bought into this a little bit before, and it could be true, but if it's true, like, it just is, it's stupid to me. Like, because if we was already at with God in perfection in heaven, then why would we need to like devolve just to evolve back? Like, why would we forget everything just to remember everything? Um, like, it's just pointless. Um, like, if you take kind of the stance that, this is all training and so on, like, what is the training for? What are we training for? You know, like, if you think of it, people say, "Oh, life's a video game" and so on. And then in video games, you're kind of like going upper level, and you get stronger levels. And then like you go up the levels, your character gets stronger, but then you're just versing like stronger bosses. Um, and that can be fun in like a certain context where you can turn the game on, turn the game off, play when you want, play different games, all this kind of stuff, right? Um, but like, if you can't even turn the game off or on, you can't change the game, and you're essentially your reward for becoming more conscious and stronger is just to be met with harder battles and so on and so forth, then like indefinitely, then like what's the point? That just seems like suffering to me. That kind of brings one of my points as well. It's like that story of Sisyphus or whatever his name is. You know, the guy that's like got cursed by the gods to push a boulder up a hill, like, or up a mountain for all eternity, and he'll never get to the top. Or like, as soon as it gets to the top, it just rolls down, and then he just has to push it back up again. Which really, that doesn't make any sense because he could just stop pushing the boulder up. Um, But I guess it's in a way to where he's like pushing it up, and the hill goes up forever, and then probably like if he stops pushing, it will just roll back and crush him, so he can just never stop. That's literally like human survival. And yeah, like I don't know, there's not really anything to learn. That's what I'm saying. Like when you actually do, like, yeah, some people and some spiritual teachers, they'll say, oh, like self-realization is the point of life and so on and so forth. Um, like that does make a little bit of sense to me. Like I feel like all conscious beings should become self-realized at least. But then like what after that? Like you realize, oh, the truth is true, existence exists, I am myself, eternity is eternal, consciousness is conscious, reality is real, imagination is imaginary, illusions are illusory, and then now what? And then you can say, oh, but there is no time or something in absolute. So there is no now what, because there wasn't a before and there's no after, so you can't say now what, and this and that. But see, you're still trapped in you're still, even if you're not trapped, but you're still experiencing the illusion of time, knowing full well that time isn't real. So at a certain point, like if you could switch time off or switch your consciousness off, then yeah, like it could be fun to experience it for a bit and then go back to sleep or something, but you can't even turn it off. So like it's like at that point it becomes it's to a certain degree, even though, how can I put it, when you become more conscious and more realized, you become a lot more stoic, so you can, it's almost like you can endure more suffering, but you almost do suffer more as well when you're experiencing hardship and kind of strife, knowing full well that the strife is for nothing and there's nothing to gain and nothing to lose. So it's like you're trying to you're programmed to protect this life and you're programmed to survive and so on and so forth, but like if you live or die, it makes no difference. But then you also have relatives and friends who like you, like even if you don't care if you die, you don't want to make them suffer by you dying. So it's like you're kind of trapped. It's like, oh, I can't die because I don't really want my, like, parents or this or that, like of my family to suffer my death. Like if I had no one, then I would be cool with dying. But um, yeah, and if there was really something to learn, then yeah, but there's nothing to learn. Like it's literally just a loop back to itself. And if the end is the beginning, like if every journey ends in the same destination back where you began, then is there a point of even going on that loop? Like why didn't it just stay at the point? It doesn't really make sense. Another thing is, if life is entertainment, but then like this life can be kind of entertaining, but to me it seems like this can't possibly be the most entertaining dream or like matrix that could have been constructed. Like if you look around, like we have computers, Wi-Fi, we have nature, ecosystems, all kinds of complexity. Like if this really was constructed, I'm not saying that this is like a perfect construction, but this would have had to take insane levels of intelligence to create. So if it had insane levels of intelligence, then surely it could have created something better than this, right? So like I feel like if this was constructed right, like it doesn't seem to me like this was constructed for our own enjoyment. And I feel like that's why many people like try to rationalize and say, oh, it's not for our enjoyment, but it's a school for us to learn through hardship. But that's what I'm saying, there's nothing to learn. And even if there is something to learn, then there's infinite to learn. So it just goes on indefinitely. So to what end? And so it doesn't really seem to me like this is for us to learn. It doesn't really seem like like this is here to entertain us. Um, One possibility I thought of is that it is for us to learn and it is for us to be entertained, but it's just that, and with this insane intelligence that the creator has, it did create something that somewhat enjoyable. Like there are some enjoyable like aspects of this reality, but it's just limited in how enjoyable it can make it by the fact that it's a zero sum game. Like by the fact that it's zero sum, by the fact that it's being constructed from nothing, and anything times zero is zero. Anything like from the fact that it came from nothing, no matter how like it shape shifts into appearing like it's substantial, like something above zero, it will always remain as zero. So that's kind of what creates the sine wave and the peaks and valleys. So like it can create some enjoyment and peaks, but it's always going to come at the cost of a valley. So maybe that's the one kind of limitation of God, so to speak, or the creator, to where it can create like an experience where we're alive as humans and you enjoy some things, um, but that's the one limitation, is that because it's a zero sum game, it can't actually, like it's generally not possible for it to create a reality where you're always in pleasure, where you're always feeling good. um, you know what I'm saying? Like perhaps it's genuinely just impossible for it to create something where like a reality where there is no suffering. um, Another thing is that there is no God really and truly. um, to me it just seems like this idea of God, right? Like this, what we're experiencing is extremely strange, it's extremely mysterious, and it's extremely absurd. It's all of those things. It's extremely strange, it's mysterious, it's absurd what's going on right now. Um, and humans, we tried to rationalize a reason. Like, even if we can't explain what, we still tried to explain why. But there is no why. If what I'm saying at the absolute level, that like that like everything is its own point, right? So for example, black is black to be black. White is white to be white. Humans are human to be human. Pain is painful just to be painful. There's not like a reason why you're experiencing pain. There's not like some higher purpose that you're experiencing pain to evolve and then finally get to like something like no. Pain is just painful. That's it. It's absolutely painful, and pain could never be anything other than painful. That's it, full stop. Suffering could never be anything other than suffering. Suffering will always be suffering because that's where it is. See, if that what I'm saying is correct, that's like the truth of the matter, then like there's no reason like why you're suffering. There's no like good reason why you're conscious. It's just that consciousness is always conscious, and consciousness can never not be conscious. So it's not like God created you and made you conscious so you can experience this creation. Like no, you've always been conscious. That's why you're conscious. And there's nothing else you can do about it. So even that was something I was thinking, maybe perhaps that's like that was something that, another note I was making, is that is it actually impossible to turn off consciousness? Is it just the case that we've always been conscious, and that's why there's like and we actually have had like infinite lives, but that's why we have the memory wipe, because we're just, even though we're like suffering right now, that memory wipe is just to prevent even more suffering. Because if you could remember all your infinite lives, it would just be too much to handle. And we just have we wipe our own memory just to forget that we've always been here and there's no escape. And we're just imagining and dreaming all these strange things like human life and strange things like the US election and World War III and do aliens exist and 9 to 5, we have to escape the 9 to 5 matrix, and you need to get money and you need to get a girlfriend and this and that and so on and so forth. All this complexity, not because it means anything, but just to keep you dazzled like a flash grenade, a stun grenade, just to keep you so like perplexed that like you completely forget that you're just consciousness being conscious like for all eternity, and you've always been here and you can never not be conscious. Like all of this is just a dream just to distract you from the truth. Like, is that the case? Would be quite saddening. Yeah. I think I kind of covered all my points. Let me know what you guys think. I would appreciate if you guys wrote some comments. Yeah, man. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend as well. Cheers. Nice one.